Hello, everybody. So today I'm talking about change. I want to know who likes change. Do you like change? Is it something that appeals to you? So for me, over time, I've got better at change, dealing with change, but often there's a part of me that's just like, can I just keep things as they are? It feels safe, it feels comfortable, it feels easy. So a lot of us have lots of change. And I've been really thinking particularly about single women and how it feels to go through change. So I'm going to relate this to single women, but wherever you're at, have a look at it and see how it relates to you. So as single ladies, there can be lots of changes that take place. I brought up this picture because I thought, oh my goodness, this is just the ultimate for me. Hanging out with girlfriends, lying on the picnic rugs, out in the sun, wherever you are around the world. Obviously, we're all at different temperatures, but that whole concept of having that girl time, connecting, being real, having your friends there. It might be in the form of a few friends. It might be one friend on the phone that lives in a separate city, but having friends around us can be such a great thing to nurture and nourish us and how we are and help us feel good and grounded in ourselves as well and help us through the tough stuff. So what happens as singles, so often we've got change because we're going out on dates or we're not putting ourselves out there and we're seeing all these other people whose lives are changing. So change can come in so many different forms, but I thought I'd look at some of them for single women. So for a lot of clients, a lot of people I work with, they're going on date after date and it's like, man, I'm changing from this and I think I'm into that guy, but no, he's not interested. Then I've got to think about what I'm doing next. And so there's lots of chopping and changing, and that's why so many ladies say to me, Deb, I just get to the point and I've got to step back. I just don't want to date for the moment. I just need time out. I need just to connect back with what feels good because there is so much change going on. They're interested, they're not interested. I don't know if I'm interested, back, forth, and all of this is going on. And that's a lot of change. Compare it to something like I'm in a stable job or I've got stable friends. This is something that has changed for us. So, we can either embrace it like Kylie's saying she does. She likes change so much and it helps her grow, or we can feel that resistance to us. And I thought I'd be really honest and straight here because what I'm going to share next is some of what I felt happened for me, and some of it you could relate to too, depending on whatever age you're at. It can happen at different times, different aspects of this change. But for me, when I was single, I would so often get the phone call from people, guess what? I'm in a relationship. Guess what? I'm getting married. It's beautiful. I've met my partner. I'm so happy. Yes, there's the wedding. Yes, we're having kids. And so they're going through all this change and you're maybe not. So a lot of ladies that connect in are in their 30s, 40s. They're feeling their friends going through, getting married, having kids. Others are in their 60s, 70s. I've got a lady I'm speaking to at the moment who's almost 80 as well. So we're all different age groups going through different things. But, we've either got partners or people have gotten divorced and they're starting to reconnect again, or we've all got different things that are going on for us. But what I've found for myself and for others is that it can feel like a lot of change as your friends are going down different paths. They've met people and you're like, what about me? When's it going to be my turn? And so often what can happen for us with that is there can be this part of us that's so excited and happy for our friends, of course, because, we want the best for them. But then there's often this other part that's sort of like, well, what about me? And what does that mean for me? And so we go through that while we're going through the change of friendships. Maybe that friend's just not available for us anymore. Maybe they're only available when they've got their kid and you can always just hear the background noises of them talking to the kids or whatever they're doing. I've been on both sides of it, so I totally get it. Anyone feel like, yeah, I can relate to aspects of that? I'd love to hear and know which parts of these feel familiar to you. So there's different ways that we can respond to changes, whether it's in regards to friends partnering up, whether it's ourselves going down the dating path. Maybe I've just changed jobs. Maybe I've got to change because I've got to get a new flatmate. We've all got different things going on. One response to change is that resistance. I hate change more than almost anything. Anyone feel like that? Be honest, in some areas of your life, you just feel like, I just don't want it. So this is a response. This is a way we feel sometimes. And if that's you, honoring that in you, that sometimes that can be what's going on. And when we feel that, we can often feel down and out, and, it can feel really, difficult. And yes, Karen, uncomfortable. It's always uncomfortable at the start. That's it, till you get used to something. So very true. For others, change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. Or as people like Kylie said, there's this embracing of it all along. So there's different ways to respond to change. And I want to share now 3 different approaches for dealing with change. So you might have heard before, there's fight, flee, or flow. Fight, flee, or flow. Most often when we're feeling put out, when we're feeling challenged, there's internal resistance, we're in fight or flee. So what is fight? What is flee? So let's just say you've just found out that your friend's getting married and you've been wanting to get married and you haven't found the partner. Fighting wouldn't necessarily be with your friend. You could be totally happy for your friend, but the fighting could be in this internal resistance. What about me? I should have done things differently. I should have been in a situation, ... I should have said yes to that guy and I didn't, right? So this can be an internal fight. Sometimes in situations, fight can be an external fight. It can be a verbal fight. For some, it's a physical fight, but it's some angst that's going on either with ourselves or with someone else, and that's a fight response. A flee response might be clear by the words, and you might be aware of this. The flee response is, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to focus on it. I'm going to put it aside. So you've just found out the friend's getting married and you're really excited. You send her flowers, you go over and give her a hug, and you're just going to switch it off, because you're happy for her, but it's also our own coping mechanism. I'm just not going to think about it. For me, I'm not going to let it occupy my time. I'm just going to switch it off. But some of us, we stop connecting with those people that we love so much because it feels so difficult, or we put those internal barriers up. Anyone do that? We put those barriers up for something because it feels difficult. That's the fleeing. I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to watch hours of Netflix so I don't have to think about it. Nothing against Netflix, nothing against doing things to avoid, but noticing in myself, that's what I'm doing. I'm avoiding. So just really owning that in yourself. The third response is a different one, the flow response. How do we flow? And that's something that I love working with people on, how to get into a flow response, how to make peace with those people in your life that are creating different experiences that you're wanting. So flow is getting into a place of accepting where they're at, feeling pleased for them, and also finding that peace in yourself and knowing that, okay, it's happening for them. It could also happen for me. And that's where I work with a lot of people on getting to that place where they can start to see the possibility for themselves and what they can bring in for themselves as well. So I want to ask you in the chat, where do you spend more time? Fight, flee, or flow? Let us know in the chat. Where do you spend your time? Where do you put your energy? Really great to look at that and notice what you're doing. I have a chart that I wanted to share with you as well that can show the progression of where you go with how you're feeling as well. So often when you hear news, now it doesn't have to be about a friend getting married, but there's some change that has to take place. Say you hear from your landlord and the place that you're renting is no longer available and you've got to clear out in a short amount of time. Often there's a shock, this shock that it's happened. It could be that your friend that you've been friends with forever and that could go on holidays with you and do all sorts of things isn't able to do that anymore, or they've got limited time to do that. So often there's that shock. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's happened. Is it really real? Then there's often an avoidance. I'm just going to put it to the side. And that's often that stepping back as well. That's that fleeing. I'm going to avoid it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to focus on it. Or I'm not even going to think about the fact that I've got to be out of my place in the next 4 weeks. I'm just going to be in denial for the next 3 and not even think about it. And then I'm going to run around like a crazy person trying to get everything done. Then there's often external blame. So with the example of the tenant and, having to leave your place, blaming them, for having to vacate. They shouldn't have done that. How dare they? Then there's that blaming self. When it comes back to some people being in relationships, how dare they? Like, how dare they go out and meet someone, even though we wouldn't say that most likely out loud, internally we could be feeling that. Yeah, what about me? What about my friendship? And these are real feelings and real emotions. And that's why I want to talk about it here, because so often we don't talk about it. We just put this big smile out to the world. Blaming self. Oh, I should have focused on my own love life rather than work. I should have done things different. I should be in a different situation. We blame self and we make ourselves feel bad for what hasn't come for us. And then eventually what we want to get to is acceptance. And a lot of people struggle with that. And a lot of my clients I work with are in a place of avoiding it, blaming others, blaming self. And there's nothing against any of those people. We're all going through the human chain of emotions, but, it can take a bit to get to acceptance. And it's kind of a nice segue into changing your perspective changes your experience. So we can't change the fact, the fact is we get separated, we break up with the partner, we're single, whatever it is, or our friends are moving into relationships. But when we change our perspective, like what if there's this opportunity to make new connections? What if there's other people that are really deep, you can build some really deep, wonderful connections. What if it's just about looking at how and where and all of this for yourself as well? So, there's so many things that can come from it, but it starts with changing your perspective. And that's why I get so much joy from helping people clear the stuff in the way and help them make peace with where they're at, and then attract what they're wanting to bring into their lives as well. So that can be really powerful too. I love this so much. If nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies. This has always been one of my favorite quotes, and such a nice reminder that, there's actually really some good, beautiful things that can come from change. So what if we can embrace it wherever we're at? What if we can just embrace the change that happens? What if we can make peace with it? What if we can find ways to do that? And the way to start doing that is to start noticing our thoughts and shifting our perspectives on things as well. So I just want to finish up with this. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start from where you are and change the ending. So wherever you are, it's about learning to make peace with where you are and then create the ending that you want. So I just wanted to send love to every single person in this group. Big hugs wherever you are, whatever change you're going through. Notice your thoughts, be kind to yourself, a really powerful way to deal with that. And if you'd like to, be in touch for a chat as well. Lots of love to each and every one of you, and I look forward to connecting with you really soon.